If you're a therapist and you've ever felt really nervous about explaining your cash pay or out-of-network rates to clients, this is the video for you. I'm going to break down step by step what I say to clients to explain that I don't take their insurance. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Kelley Stevens. I'm the owner and founder of Private Practice Pro. I teach therapists how to build successful private practices. And in today's video, we're going to get into a topic that's a little bit controversial in the therapy field, and that is explaining your cash pay rates or your out-of-network status to your therapy clients. However, before we get into this topic, I just want to say one thing about insurance. I understand the benefit of taking insurance as a therapist. This is something that I've really wrestled with in my own practice and in my own life, because certainly I'm somebody who has health insurance. I am somebody who wants to use my health insurance to pay for therapy. But when I decided to open my own private practice, I looked at the insurance rates and the reimbursements that were being provided to therapists in my area. I looked at my overhead for my expenses, and I looked at my personal expenses for me and my kids, and I simply couldn't make the math add up for it to be profitable and sustainable in the long term for me to be in network with insurance companies. It is my sincerest hope that one day insurance companies will realize the benefit of mental health and provide higher reimbursements. But for now, I've decided to be an out-of-network therapist, and I need to be able to explain that to my clients in a professional and caring way. And so I thought in today's video, I would break down exactly how I do that. Step one is that I list very clearly on my website that I am an out-of-network therapist. I'll go ahead and put the message that I have on my website on the screen so that you can read it. I charge fill in the blank for a 50-minute session. I accept cash, credit cards, checks at the time of the appointment. I don't bill insurance. However, I provide you with a superbill at the end of the month that you can submit to your insurance company. Before booking an appointment, I suggest calling the number on the back of your insurance card, inquiring about your out-of-network therapy benefits, and learning how to submit an out-of-network reimbursement claim. If you want to find a provider who's in your insurance company, you can feel free to email me a list of your providers covered by your insurance, and I'd be happy to let you know if I recommend any of them. First and foremost, this is on my website and this is on my intake paperwork. So before a client even calls me, if they've read over my website, they typically know that I don't take insurance. That being said, sometimes I will have clients call and kind of inquire about whether or not I take insurance. One thing I've learned to do on my initial intake calls is to tell someone before we even kind of start talking, I'll say, why don't I go over the nuts and bolts of my private practice so I can just give you a sense of how I work before we kind of get into a larger conversation. I want to let you know I'm an out-of-network therapist. Now, I wanted you to know that because before you tell me everything going on, if you really need somebody who's in your network, I wanted to let you know so that I can help you find someone who is. So I take that first initial step before ever learning about their life to let them know I'm out of their network. And I always offer to take a look at their list of providers and refer them to somebody who does take their insurance. Now, a lot of times, by the time people get to me or they're calling me, they've been referred by somebody. Maybe they've tried to see other therapists in their network who don't have any availability, or maybe they haven't had such a good experience with somebody in their network. Regardless, a lot of times I will have a client say, yeah, I know you're out of network. I read it on your website, and then they'll just continue talking. Other times, clients will say, oh, I didn't realize that. I really do need to use somebody in my network. If that's the case, I don't try to convince anyone to stay in my practice that wants to use their insurance. If it's important to someone that they need to use their insurance, I actually offer to help them find someone. So I'll usually say something like, if you go on your insurance company's website, there's probably a list of providers that are in your network. And if you want to go ahead and email me that list, I can't promise you that I'll know anyone, but if I do, I'll look it over and I'll send you some names. Typically, I actually do know one or two people on that list, right? Because I've done the work and the due diligence in my city to know who takes insurance. What I also tend to know is who I would recommend on that list and who I might not recommend. I'm never going to be someone who's going to say, don't see that person, but typically I'll say the phrase of, I really think this other person is great and I would send my own family to them. And if they say, well, what about this other person? I'll say, I would send my own family to these people. I can't speak for anyone else. What I have found, surprisingly enough, is that when I am willing to help people find someone in their network, what goes around comes around. Meaning, a lot of times those clients actually end up back with me anyway. Maybe they try someone in their network and it's not a good fit. Maybe the people that are in their network don't have any availability, or maybe they just realized that I took time to help them find a therapist who was a good fit for them, even though I didn't have to. So quite often people end up coming back anyway. If somebody says to me, you know what, I don't understand what it means to be out of network. What do you mean by getting reimbursed? I saw this in your paperwork. Can you explain it to me? I try to break it down really simply for them. And I say, what it means for me to be an out-of-network therapist is that I don't directly send a bill to your insurance company. For example, when you go to the doctor, maybe your doctor bills your insurance company and then you get a bill in the mail for whatever your insurance didn't cover or for your copay. For me, I send the bill directly to you, or I directly bill you after the session. At that point, you get what's called a super bill. And I let them know, and I always say the same thing each time, a super bill is kind of like a detailed fancy name for a receipt. I'll often tell them that I actually auto-generate those super bills using a program called Simple Practice. And so every month, you'll just automatically get one over email and in a client portal. Now, if you want to use Simple Practice, side note, there's a link for 2 months free below. Then I let them know you can take that super bill and submit it to your insurance company for reimbursement. I'll also say something like, I can't guarantee if your insurance company will reimburse any of it or all of it. However, I actually suggest calling the number on the back of your insurance card and just asking, do you reimburse for out-of-network therapy? Sometimes I'll also let clients know that there are services that will do that submission for them if they would like to pay a service to do so. I let them know that sometimes I work with a company called Mentaya that will submit the super bills for them if they want to pay a 5% fee. Not all clients want to do that, but some, especially if they're coming to therapy really regularly and know they have really good benefits, will say, yes, I want to take this off my plate. Let's have an outside company submit it. If you're a therapist who's interested in Mentaya for your out-of-network billing, I will also put a link for them below. The thing that I want you to remember about this approach is that first, I've let them know on my website. Second, I've let them know in my paperwork. And third, I don't try to desperately hang on to clients saying, oh no, don't use your benefits, you don't need to. I really want to find clients who are a good fit for me, who feel like they are able to afford out-of-network therapy. And if they're not a good fit, I am going to use that as an opportunity to refer out to one of my colleagues and continue to build my circle of therapists in my community. I hope this helped. If you like this video and want more free tutorials, please make sure to like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time.